And then there are other things where I rang up Terry Jones. I said, why did you make Brian 40 years old? I mean, Jesus is always 33. He's born in 0 and is 30, in AD 33, he's crucified. I said, why did you make him 40? And he said, I don't know. So I said, yeah, but it's quite, it is a big thing, you know. Do you know that there are several theories that place him as 40? Because if you take it, again, you go into the biblical history, Herod died at 4 BC, so he was not alive in 0, and the census of Quirinius' census was in 7 AD. So Jesus is born in a time where it's impossible. But if you go back to 11 BC, Herod was still alive, Halley's Comet went by, maybe Magi were visiting Jerusalem, so at least you've got 3 elements that make him 40 years old, and it's quite a good little theory. There, of course, is another one, you know, that his father, I said, why did you make Brian's father a Roman? Do you know there's a theory about Brian's father being a Roman? And he said, no, we just sort of did it. You know, some were brilliantly researched and others were just happened to be really interesting. I said, well, do you know there are several theories in the Jewish Talmud that Jesus' father was the Roman, called Panthera. And not only that, there's even another theory, which is I love this theory, is that Julius Caesar had a child with Cleopatra who was called Caesarion. And when the war happened with Mark Antony, he was sent to a ship and was going to be sent to India. And some people think that it's Caesarion who was sent to India because Jesus is alleged to have gone to India and has come back. So there's even another theory. I mean, unfortunately, that would place him about 70 years old in the time of Pilate. So I don't quite follow that theory, but it's a nice theory. I love the idea of it. It's, you know, and this is what's nice, is that people have some interesting theories. I don't say I'm going to buy this theory or anything. I say, listen to this theory. This is a good one. I love this one. You know, so the book is like that. It's chasing little theories, and then I put a few of my own in. You know,
Julian,
to add
did you
to the
know
spice.
a lot of this information when you were editing the film, or is this things that you learned over the course of years that followed?
No, strangely, I was already fascinated with ancient Egypt. I was preparing a film about a guy called Richard Dad, a painter, and who went to Egypt and went mad and came back and said Osiris is the real God and Jesus and the Christian God is just a copy of Osiris. So I went out to Egypt and researching that and going, well, he's got a point. He's not as mad as he. I mean, he was mad because he killed his father when he came back, you know, and in a fit of rage, you know. But he had a few points that were interesting. So I went to Egypt and I studied, and I got involved in a whole load of research, and I found the whole thing very fascinating. All ancient history I've always found fascinating. And strangely, even going up to Knights Templars and then the Holy Grail. And so suddenly we're making a film, The Holy Grail, you know, which I go, oh, this is great because I love the whole stories and the possible historical origins of the Holy Grail stories. And then we make a film about Jesus. Yeah, oh, this is great. You know, another one that's all right up my alley, you know. So it was fascinating doing those films. And then, you know, I knew things like that there was a big dispute because, you know, who built the aqueduct? Oh, well, you know, there was a huge dispute that Pilate built the Jerusalem aqueduct and he took the money from the temple. So you've got this scene where, you know, what did the Romans do for us? Oh, well, they built the aqueduct. And it's absolutely true. Pilate built the aqueduct. You know, I said, do you know that? And, oh, no, we didn't know that. I said, it's great. You know, you've got it right on the nail.
Let me ask you one question, then we'll take a break and come back and talk some more. Do you ever worry when you in doing this? You know, comedians hate to have to stop and explain a joke. Now, a movie is a little different, but the concept is the same. Did you worry about, you know, breaking it down as much as you did and explaining and challenging and confirming different things that on reading this people might not think it was quite as funny as it was before they knew all this?
I don't know. I work in a very logical way. Initially, I cut emotionally, so I cut it And then I look at it and I analyze what I've done, and I might change things slightly analytically. So I've always been an analyzer of things. So, and it doesn't stop me laughing. I mean, I am the one person, why I'm quite good at editing comedy is that I never get bored with a gag. People like Eric has a problem because he's so fast-witted that he gets bored too quickly. And that's no good for an editor, because you're going to watch that gag 100 times in the editing room, and then in the previews, and then in the test viewings and all the rest of it. And you've got to remember, in my mind, I know that is a funny gag, whereas Eric is going, take that out, it's boring. No, it's all right. I mean, when we were doing Holy Grail, they took the Black Knight having his arms cut off out of the film. They said, oh, it wasn't working. And I'm going, it works, but, if you're quick-witted and you're sharp, sometimes that can be a disadvantage in editing. I can only say that I'm dumb enough as an editor to not get bored quickly with the material. So I always find it funny. And I don't think explaining how it works, it will harm anybody. It's fascinating. I mean, comedy is the most fascinating thing out. Why we laugh, how, and what we're laughing at. And you have to, I don't know where I got the instinct, because I'd never done comedy prior to doing the Pythons. My father was very funny. Maybe it was that, I don't know. But suddenly I'm editing it and I know where to go with the material and how to get the best out of the material. It was a strange thing. I just don't know. Maybe you're born with it, but I certainly can't tell a joke. So, it doesn't come from being a performing jokester, It comes from something else, and I don't know what it is. But I think the people will enjoy the film and will enjoy it on several more levels when they've read the book.
Let's take a quick break while I come up with a three pythons walked into a bar joke. This is Bob Andelman, and you're listening to and hopefully watching the Mr. Media interview with Monty Python film editor Julian Doyle, author of the new book, The Life of Jesus. Well, The Life of Brian Jesus. We'll be right back.